Greetings and welcome back. We are back with Homestuck Epilogues. Welcome Aleph, welcome Sneak Cat, and welcome anyone viewing anonymously. It is once again Friday evening, or at least it is presently Friday evening in my time zone. Oh no, they got you sick. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I really hope you're feeling better for tomorrow. Good luck, break a leg. I didn't say the other thing. Break a leg in your performance. I hope that goes really well. Yeah. Hello. We're back with this. Okay. Let's see. Right. So, community news. Last weekend was Stuck at Home Con, aka SACon. This here is the schedule page, which has been updated to include links to video archives of all the panels that were happening. Most of them are archived. You might see a few, like this one here. It is not a link, so this was not archived, but most of them here have links. So if you are interested, if you weren't able to quote unquote attend, if there were any panels that you had to miss out on because there were conflicting panel times, I'd say like 95% of the panels are right here for you. So I will link to that. Yes, I know, Aleph. It's SACon D's nuts, etc., etc. Here, I'll drop that link. Drop that link in chat for any of you who want to go check that out. And I will get my document open. Hello. God, a fucking layout changed in Microsoft Word again, and I just keep clicking on the wrong buttons. There we are. Okay, now I found the right file. Okay. So, that was the first piece of community news. SACon panels are up and archived. Okay. And next up, we got some very exciting news from What Pumpkin Games this week. The, as promised, June news for Hiveswap. We got our next Hiveswap update. So, this lovely news post came with a beautiful little gif of Boulder, whom I love so very much, and I'm super excited to see in Hiveswap Act 2. Gorgeous. Very suspicious. Love her with my whole heart. Whole bunch of nothing, not that I care since I'm not a Redditor. I mean, yeah, they're like, here's another sneak peek at Hiveswap Act 2. I mean, it's one GIF, and then they answer a bunch of questions that people have been pestering them about for ages, and none of them had anything to do with the actual game, really. So, but I mean, it's something. Like, they're communicating with us, you know. It's not radio silence, so it's, you know, I'll take it. But yes, so to go over this post, which I will link in chat, and put that link in my little document for the description of the YouTube video. Okie dokie. So we reached out to you last month to find out exactly what your most pressing questions were about us, Friendsim, and Hiveswap. We'll answer some of them here. Are all 4 acts still coming? When are they coming out? And what's the roadmap? Yeah, a lot of people are like, oh, it's never coming out, blah, blah, blah. Look, y'all. If I've learned anything from fucking 7 years of following Homestuck and Andrew Hussey's work, It's that when he makes a promise, it fucking happens. It may take forever, but it will fucking happen. So yes, they said, we are committed to delivering Hiveswap in his entire Act 2, followed by 3, and then Act 4. After that, we can turn our attention to the possibility of Haunt Switch. So, I mean, they are kind of hesitating on the Haunt Switch a little bit, but I mean, there does need to be, I can't blame them for wanting the enthusiasm, to see the enthusiasm for Hiveswap before fully committing to Haunt Switch. Although, at Ludonaricon, the Ludonaricon Hiveswap stream, James Rich did say, he did mention that Fozzer's theme from the Hiveswap Friend Sims is actually a song that was created as a theme for Haunt Switch. So it is still, it is still something that's on their minds. It's not completely out there. Just glad we're getting this. Yeah, like, this is, you know, this is chill. This is, I think they're going to be using this kind of blog space similarly to the way that they were using their Tumblr before they deleted it. Will the game come to any additional platforms? Long story short, the answer is not right now, but they're considering the possibility if it's, you know, becomes a thing that is viable. Please tell us more about Hiveswap Act 2. Act 2 is still a point-and-click adventure game with the same basic UI and mechanics. The puzzles and gameplay will focus more heavily on character dialogue in this installment. So, that's exciting. We're going to get lots of people talking, and I love all of the characters. I'm very excited to see all of them, even the ones that I kind of hate. I'm just really excited for Hiveswap. In terms of length, the amount of time it will take you to complete the game will depend on how much time you spend exploring and talking to the characters in each scene. There will be more content in Act 2 than Act 1. So, yeah, it's going to be bigger, which makes sense. Because they set up a very big story in Act 1, and Act 1 was not that long, so Act 2, it only makes sense for Act 2 to be longer, like, narratively speaking. If when it comes out, you're forcing all your friends to buy it. Yeah, I always try and convince people to, like, if the opportunity comes up, which it doesn't very often, I'll just be like, yeah, hey, cool video game. You like cool video games? This is a cool video game. Okay, what's going to happen? Where will it take place? Which characters will be in it? Details about the story and plot of the game will be best revealed by the game itself. You will be able to look forward to seeing a lot more of Alternia in Act 2. I don't know why anyone's asking which characters are going to be in it, because it was already confirmed at the beginning of the Troll Call, the very beginning of the Troll Call. These are all characters that will be appearing in Hiveswap Act 2. And also, it has been confirmed from... Fuck, I don't remember where this came from. Who said this? One of the people on the team mentioned that this is not even an entirely exhaustive list of the trolls that will be in Act 2. These are just the ones that will have a more prominent speaking role, so to speak. Whether that means you interact with them like a shitload, or, you know, they play a big part in like one puzzle and then they don't appear again. They have a more prominent speaking role, and there will still be more like backgroundy kind of characters. Assuming that they'll not be giving plot details because there's literally no way to summarize what happens in Act 2. Yeah, I'm assuming that they're just kind of like they don't want to create any anticipation that they can't, like, you know, that they are suddenly being expected to live up to. Because, you know, there's a lot of release date disappointment with Act 1. And then there was, you know, a couple of other parts where, I mean, some of it was stuff they didn't even do. Some of it was just fandom expectation built up, and they were like, here's how it is, and the fandom was like, what the fuck? But, yeah, so that's, yeah. I am excited to see more of Alternia in Act 2, for sure. How does Friendsim fit into the Hiveswap games? And Friendsim is an extra canonical series of character introductions and backstories to add flavor to the Hiveswap experience. You don't need to have played Friendsim to enjoy Act 2, but if you're interested in any of the characters that appear in Hiveswap, it is a great way to find out more about what they're like. So yeah, that's kind of, we already kind of knew that was not really, yeah, like they call it extra canonical, as if the word canon has lost all fucking meaning in the context of Homestuck. But yeah, they're kind of like not essential to the main plot of Hiveswap. Let's borrow from that truth, relevance, and essentiality triangle there. Hiveswap Friendsims are not essential. I'm a bit confused about how Kickstarter rewards will work. What do we get again? I kind of forgot that Kickstarter rewards were like still a thing that they were doing. So backers who pledge for physical copies will get their copies when all 4 acts are complete. So like half the people who backed that are probably gonna have like fucking changed their postal address or whatever and like moved on from Homestuck entirely by the time all 4 acts are complete. God, I wish I could have donated to the Kickstarter. I really wanted to, but I was still in high school and my parents are like, we're not giving you our fucking credit card number for this. Yeah, digital copy, they'll receive them as they come out, and as well as if you pledge for the soundtrack. And then, who's doing what on the team behind Hiveswap Act 2? Yes, people have been very excited to find out who the fuck is working on this. Who is it? Are there people from before who are not back? Are there new people from Friendsims who are joining? And the answer to both of those questions is yes. James and Toby are back for music. Fuck yeah! Adrienne is back for animation. Fuck yes. And Aisha from Friendsim has joined the writing team, which I'm very excited about. And yes, Cohen, why did I say his name like that? Cohen is not back. He is not back on the writing team. In the future, we'll be doing a series of artist and writer spotlights, including introducing you guys to the team, which makes me very excited because I super loved the dev team interviews that they did for Hiveswap Act 1. I thought they were fucking great. Except for Cohen's incest shipping joke. I was not a fan of that. So speaking of Colin, anyway, thanks for sticking with us. We're excited to be diving back into the Homestuck universe, and we'll keep updating you regularly on our progress. So that is that. That is the update from What Pumpkin. Also, from What Pumpkin, this is just from today, this very day. They made an Instagram, so that's a thing now. I don't know what exactly they'd be doing with an Instagram, but boy, howdy does it exist. One second. Yeah. Finally a way to make me join Instagram. Their first post is a deep fried tweet, which they then, on Twitter, their announcement post on Twitter for their Instagram page is to take a picture of the Instagram post and deep fry it and then post that to Twitter again with the same caption. So, yes, and I saw someone somewhere asked if Viz was involved in this, and they said, no, this is What Pumpkin. I don't know why people think that Viz is, like, hyper involved in literally everything that What Pumpkin does. Like, they're pretty background. in terms of, like, the amount of control that they, or say that they have over things like this. They're very much a background agent here. Carrying on Hesse's legacy of deep frying. Yeah, so this is, that's that. And that is community news. That is what has happened in the past week, which is a lot more than I've had to say for that section in quite some time. Fuck Viz. See, I also don't understand what it is about Viz that people are mad at them about. They haven't emailed me back, and half the Homestuck site is still broken. Okay, yeah. No, that's not good. That's super not good. And they better, there's a lot of shit that still needs fixing. Like, I'm pretty sure the HTML5 version of End of Act 1 is still not in sync with the music. And there's, like, a couple of other issues, which I hope are fixed by the time we do another Homestuck reread stream. Okie dokie. Okay. Finally, returning to the Homestuck Epilogues, only 20 minutes after, and all of that was actually relevant to the stream. Isn't that a funny thing? So, let us begin. Candy Chapter 8. Did you hear that Jane has been intending to run for president? Yes, she in fact asked me to serve a position in her cabinet, on the Board of Responsible Troll Reproduction. Ugh. Oh dear. What did you tell her? Well, not in so many words, but I told her to kindly fuck off. Yes, can I? God, I love these two so much. Rose arches an eyebrow at her wife, who is tending to the mother grub. Rose herself is sitting cross-legged on an outcropping over the lip of the breeding pit, knitting a series of tiny scarves for the grub clones that she and Kanaya have come to help hatch. Tiny scarves! That bad, huh? She was already talking about regulating troll reproduction, with great confidence, I might add, as if she had already been elected. Very presumptuous of her. Well, I suppose her confidence was not unearned. Who was going to run against her? Carcat? Kanaya laughs to herself, more fond than mocking. Rose turns over another row on her scarf with dexterous ease, switching the knit pattern without missing a stitch. From behind her knitting, she watches Kanaya check the shell thickness on a batch of eggs. Her wife is luminous in the early morning light, her rainbow drinker skin soaking in the pink light and reflecting it back like the inside of a snail's shell. Hey, you know what is a thing that I am remembering? I have mentioned on a couple of occasions already, Odd and Bubbly's fic, The Lalonde Itinerary. I got an email from AO3 today informing me that the second chapter has been posted. So, I'm going to use that as an excuse to promote this shit again, because it's fucking awesome. So I'm going to toss that link in there. Hell yeah. I just, seeing these two reminded me to toss that out there. I will be reading that after stream today. Had a busy day, but it is finally time for me to sit down and chill out with the next chapter of the Lalonde Itinerary. Very cool. Okay. Back to this. I don't think Karkat would be such a bad candidate, actually. Depending on certain factors, I mean. I'm assuming that in this theoretical scenario, Dave is handling the economy. Oh, of course. Okay. In that case, it might have all worked out in the end. Doubtlessly. I have great faith in Karkat, and always have. However, I am not certain that he could step out of his hive without catching on fire. Swiffer, could you not swift the mother grub so vigorously? Oh, sorry, ma'am. I fucking love the fact that they made Swiffer Egg Mop fucking canon. Swiffer Egg Mop and... oh, fucking, I forget the name of the other... yes, that is indeed the picture at the top of their fic. But, I fucking love that they made Swiffer Egg Mop canon. Oh, and fuck, the other one who ends up in Karkat's Rebellion, whose name I cannot fucking remember. It will pop up later. That's okay. But yes, I just find this fucking hilarious. Swiffer Egg Mop is Kanaya's overeager but well-meaning jade-blooded assistant. She talks like a parody of a 1920s newsboy archetype, which Rose can only theorize has to do with Jane's influence on the culture. Just trying to get her nice and clean. I hear the new Prospect hornographer's coming by later to scope out some pics. I don't know if I'm doing that accent properly, and I'm probably not, but I'm just gonna keep rolling with it. Swiffer is at the center of the breeding pit, knee-deep in birthing juice as she mops down the mother grub's exoskeleton. The parturition of troll grubs is apparently an arduous and grisly task, one that has stained the mother grub's shimmering white exoskeleton rainbow dark with various secretions. Rose takes a moment to feel grateful that her current relationship alignment leaves no chance for her to ever be human pregnant. Not that she has any particular distaste for motherhood. It might be nice to adopt a little troll grub once the whole ball on natural production gets rolling. Swiffer adjusts the rate of her swiffing to a more acceptable level of vigor. She shines up the last of the segments she's working on, then twirls the mop over her wrist with a martial flourish that absolutely recalls the fact that she is from a natural-born warrior species. She then gets to work washing the mother grub's horns. What's this about the hornographer? Since when has the press taken in interest? That should be an interest. Since when has the press taken an interest in our activities down here? Oh yes, you were busy dying when I set all of that up. I love how she's just so casual. It's like, yeah, you were dying, but it's chill. Oh, sorry, I'm just gonna have a sip of water first. Oh yes, you were busy dying when I set all of that up. The mother grub is mature enough this year to process inseminated slurry for the first time in our history. If the government gives us the go-ahead, we can begin breeding trolls the natural way next month. I arranged the newspaper story when... when Jane asked you to sit on the board for responsible troll reproduction. Yes, the first thing I did immediately after screaming into a pillow was to call my acquaintance at the paper. Jeez, I don't know, I got this friggin' frog in my throat today. Now that she isn't running, it doesn't seem very important, however. Actually, I'm not terribly interested in politics at all. Without anger motivating me, I began to think about how it's probably very irresponsible for any of us to use our influence in such a way. I agree. In fact, I just assumed that most of us had arrived at such a conclusion. Not Jane, apparently. Or Dave, I'm sorry to say. There's a third member of their social group who definitely hasn't arrived at the conclusion that his power and influence should be meted out responsibly either. Neither of them speak his name, however. For some reason, it feels like a shadow passing over the sun. A brief spike of pain flickers through Rose's head, a bolt that strikes between her eyes and splinters out. There is color and light behind it, a vision that tears through the material reality in front of her and gives her a brief glimpse into a parallel reality where things are very different. It's gone as soon as she notices it. The image never materializes. She ties off the last row of her scarf and unwinds her knitting needles from the wool, a serene smile tugging at her lips. Since waking up in the hospital, she has stopped worrying altogether about what might be happening in splintered timelines. She has stopped worrying, in fact, about almost anything at all. A pleasant breeze rustles through her hair, carrying the sweet scent of early spring from the mouth of the chasm. Rose closes her eyes for a moment and breathes it in. Taken just 1 minute at a time, a day can be filled with hundreds of perfect moments. Yeah, so she's getting a brief strike of the meat timeline at the recall of Dirk. But, of course, her powers are fading. This is Candy timeline. And she's just enjoying the moment. Oh, it just started raining here. Well, whatever inconvenient party-ruining opinions Dave and Jane might have about the economic future of our planet, it's all in the past. I have a very good feeling about where things are going now. I see. So are you the seer now? No, but I can make predictions based on existing evidence, and if I can spend every day like this doing the work that I was born to do with the person I am most fond of in the world by my side, I believe that I can handle anything. God, that's so fucking gay. Did you really use dialogue like that to win my heart, or are we getting complacent and incredibly uncool in our old age? I convinced you to marry me. I don't think that I am obligated to be cool anymore. Kanaya, you're the coolest chick I know. What are you doing with your hands? Oh, you know, just one of these. Please don't tell me you're attempting to do the Strider thing. That thing he does where he pretends to operate an invisible record player. God. Who's the cool one now? Well, it sure isn't you. I love Rose and Kanaya so much. This is so gay, and also I need more of this. More of ridiculous, goofy, teasy Rose and Kanaya, not like Machiavellian always trying to one-up each other, Rose and Kanaya. Because it's basically every fucking Rosemary fic I've ever read. It's them like, caught up in some passive-aggressive plays at each other, trying to one-up each other and all that stuff. Like, look, that's how they acted towards each other earlier on in their relationship. That, like, constant teasing back and forth. But, like, that cannot last forever. That's not sustainable. You know? And eventually, you have to just be able to fucking talk to each other. And, you know, just chill out with each other. And that's what this is. And I love this. And this is wonderful. You... Mam and Mam's wife. I know, Swiffer. Oh, you want to see the Wreck-It Ralph animated? Me too. Like, I want to see a little gif of, like, Dave doing, like, what the fuck the hand thing is even supposed to be. Yeah, but fucking Swiffer in the next line. Mam and Mam's wife. Bank's closed, ladies. The first egg is hatching already. Kanaya twirls on her heels, skin flickering bright as she lifts her skirt and jumps into the breeding pit. Rose sets her needles down and follows, walking along the edge of the pit to the place closest to the eggs. She crouches to watch the miracle of life begin. She's never taken the time to come down here before and see the grubs hatch, probably because she's been too busy diminishing melodramatically on the couch to take an active interest in her wife's calling. The grub is already chewing through the chitin eggshell with all its little legs moving sinuously in offbeat concert. Swiffer is sniffling. She makes the motion of wiping away a tear, somewhat cartoonishly. Golly gee oh my, this part always makes me tear up. Kanaya dips down to help the grub out of the shell. Her skirt trails through a puddle of birthing jelly, but she doesn't seem to care. There's an odd expression lighting up her face, in addition to the literal light emanating from her skin. She tears away the last chunk of shell. It's mottled and rough, like a rock on the outside, but has a layer beneath like mulch flesh. Kanaya's hands are soaked blue with bloody yolk when she finally lifts the grub and holds it up to the light. Rose, look. Rose looks. All troll grubs appear kind of samey, but this one has a familiar look about her. Asymmetric horns, one crescent, the other harpoon-like, a mussed mane of hair, and a mischievous glint in her beady little eyes, particularly the one with 7 pupils. Vriska? Pretty close. A reasonable genetic approximation. This brood has been utilizing a slurry consisting of genes from our original group of 12 trolls. Most of this results in unique individuals, but sometimes very close copies occur, as with the case of ancestral descendancy. It should be capitalized. So, would Vriska would be this troll's ancestor? Yes. Wow. Rose, I think this is a sign. A sign of what? Haven't we been talking about adopting a grub? Eventually, yes, but a natural-born grub. Don't you think it will be somewhat awkward, us raising a clone of your sort of ex? What happens when Vriska comes back? What do we say to her? Rose, Vriska is dead, so it doesn't really matter. Is she dead, though? Absolutely. There are 2 things of which I have no doubt. That you and I are going to be happy for the rest of our lives, and that we are never ever going to see Vriska again. Oh, the dramatic fucking irony here is so thick. I could stab it with Mina's fucking trident. God. This just, like, the moment you're like, 2 things of which I have no doubt, it's like, okay, both of these things are gonna bite her in the fucking ass, and boy, do they. Yes, is she dead, though? Good question, Rose. The answer is actually no, as you will find out later. Yes, Vriska 2! Oh, God. Okay. Baby Vriska wiggles her 6 talons. Kanaya cradles the little grub against her chest and pokes it in the nose. The grub reacts by blowing a bubble of bright cerulean yolk membrane out from between its lips. To her own surprise, the sight melts Rose's heart in an instant. The emotion that hits her feels like one of her old visions. Suddenly, she can see her and Kanaya's future so clearly, like a map rolled out at her feet and stretching far into the horizon. Kanaya is right. Vriska is dead, and despite everything, she died a hero. Vriska was a complicated figure of contrasting extremes. Her heroic actions were matched in scale only by her monstrous ones, and since no one had actually witnessed her end, it was impossible to say which side of the pendulum swung and judged her death, heroic or just. That last little poke being a clear reference to, I guess what we could call the original Alpha timeline, where she was killed, where in the middle of the death judgment, the clock gets smashed when it's on the just side. And, yeah, so that was actually a piece of Discourse that I never really encountered until, I think sometime last year, I found out that it was like a thing that people were hotly contesting. was whether or not Vriska's death was a just death, a heroic death, or she shouldn't have died because the clock was interrupted. So we technically couldn't find out whether or not that was, like, quote-unquote, the actual judgment that it was going to give. It would be a fitting memorial for her and Kanaya to raise a version of Vriska who would be given every chance to make good on her noble characteristics. A true symbolic redemption arc. Something about the thought appeals to Rose's taste for the dramatic flourish. It would be proof that this was all worth it in the end. The destruction of multiple universes, the death of Kanaya's friends, the circuitous rites of suffering experienced by the nearly infinite splintered versions of every being to inhabit paradox space. I don't think that Vriska having not an ancestor. The baby would be Vriska would be the baby's ancestor. But I don't think Vriska becoming an ancestor is really the thing that would be proof that it was worth it all in the end. Rose loves her wife fiercely in this moment. The new mother of her species framed in a literal halo of light. She can't contain her excitement. She leaps into the pit with Kanaya and runs to embrace her, not caring about the irreversible rainbow-colored stains that she's smearing into her dress. Oh, Kanaya, you're right. We are going to be so astonishingly happy. Oh, God, no, you're not. I mean, technically speaking, by the end of this all, Rose is like, I'm happy with this. So get your head out of your ass, John. That's kind of her thing at the end. Is she's like, yeah, the world's gone to shit, but I have a loving wife. I have a wonderful daughter. I'm enjoying the little things. But yeah, just the ominous repetition of characters talking about how incredibly, amazingly happy they're going to be, like, sets my fucking teeth on edge. Oh dear. Okay, we're back with these guys. I'm gonna have some water for a second. Okay, let's do this. Aren't you guys happy to get out of the house for once? Oh, I forgot to read the actual fucking chapter number. Let's back that up. 9. Aren't you guys happy to get out of the house for once? Jade's tail swishes back and forth under her striped skirt as she takes a great big sniff of the fresh air outside. It's early evening on the outskirts of the Troll Kingdom. One by one, neon-bright windows are lighting up on the hives in the distance. Karkat is still shielding his eyes against the dying strains of the sunset. His shoulders are scrunched up so high that his cheeks disappear into his turtleneck. No, actually. I don't get what's so great about it. I can see the same bullshit from the comfort of my house. Check it out. A giant billboard of Jake English complete with a gyrating mechanical ass. What a totally necessary thing to shove right into my gander bulbs. Definitely couldn't have lived without seeing that. Dude, okay, don't pretend you don't spend at least 15% of your day ogling Jake's ass on television anyway. In fact, you're doing it right now. Well, I can't help it, Dave. It's right fucking there. Oh my god, are the mechanical glutes on that board actually padded with plush to make them more lifelike? Yes, the crazed fans kept climbing the billboard to cop a feel, so Dirk designed the second run of them to have an accurate recreation of Jake's butt density. He did what? It's wild, dude. It's like exactly spot on. Wait. Holy fuck, have you actually touched Jake's ass? I mean, not necessarily on purpose, but who hasn't? Like, I wouldn't say it's so much that I touched his ass. It's more like his ass copped a feel of my sweaty palm one time, and my poor fingers haven't been the same since. Sometimes I wake up from a fevered sleep and find my reluctant groping hand huddled in a corner of my bed all shaking and shit. The mind represses, but the body remembers. I thought about taking my hand to a psychologist, but I don't think the little guy is ready to talk about it yet. Anyway, have you seriously never touched it? God. So, I mean, I've already said a million times I fucking hate the way that Jake is treated and spoken of in the epilogues. It's so objectifying, hence the bimboification tag at the beginning of the fucking fic. God. I haven't. Not even by accident, like brushing by in a crowded elevator. No! I don't spend a lot of time standing in elevators with Jake fucking English, or for that matter, doing much of anything with the idiot, as you well know. What I'm hearing is you've tragically never touched his ass, and it's a bit of a sore subject for you. Is that why you're so obsessed with it? Ugh. Do you want to touch it? Shit can be arranged, my dude. Here, I'll text Dirk right now. I bet he can pencil you in to cop a fuel sometime next week. That's so fucked up. Like, there's just so much fucking fucked up shit happening around Jake's situation. Like, all this stuff about, oh my god, you seriously haven't touched his ass? Everyone's touched his ass. Like, what? And then, fucking, here, I'll text Dirk right now to pencil him in to cop a fuel sometime next week. I know he's not being serious. But the fact that even in his joke, he's not like, oh yeah, I'll just ask Jake if we can pencil that in next week. No, he has fucking Dirk. Like, that's just how fucked up their whole situation is. No, I don't want to. Put your phone the fuck away. We are never having a play date with Dirk and Jake again, especially not one arranged for the express purpose of assaulting one of them. Thank you, Carcat. Dude, Jake lives for this shit. It's not an assault if his ass is begging for it. Wait, wow, that sounded bad. Let's strike that one from the record. Yeah, Dave, that was the worst fucking... Don't do that. God. Anyway, it's no problem. He will literally be delighted to hear you want to spend time with him for some insane reason. Stop texting right now! Carcat tries to tear Dave's phone out of his hand, but Dave simply levitates several inches off the ground to hold it just out of jumping distance. Jade, pouting a bit, glides in between them and uses her space powers to teleport Dave's phone out from the center of his traumatized palm and into the pocket of her sweater. Hey, can we focus here? Jake's ass isn't the one you two should be talking about right now. Oh my god, Jade, do you ever fucking stop? I don't care about your ass either. I've seen it about as many times as I've seen Jake's. The novelty has worn off, assuming there even was much to begin with. Jade leers at the boy who may have just implied her ass was nothing to write home about. Her canines are longer and sharper than a normal human's, making her grin seem more predatory in nature, especially when she wants it to be. Carcat shivers at the sight of it. That's not what I'm talking about. Jade grabs Carcat's right hand, and then Dave's left one, and she begins to pull them toward each other. Both boys recoil, but she is much stronger than them. God, this is making me so uncomfortable, Jade. Don't physically force people to make physical contact. Don't do that. Not sure if it was your internet or not, but stream... No, you know what, Sneak Cat? I think stream just ate shit. Because I just got a notification from Twitch telling me to check my mobile live dashboard, which generally I only get right when I start a stream. So, I don't think it was your internet. I think stream just fucking bit the goddamn dust. God damn it. I thought that my internet problems had been fucking fixed already, but I guess here we are. So let's just hope that doesn't happen again. The what? The what of my what? Bimboification of my internet connection. How does that... Like, I'm trying to puzzle out what that could potentially mean or imply, and I'm just not getting it. Fuck. Oh. Yeah, I really don't know. Well, anyways, we were, you know, aggressively, I don't know. See, the word cringe has completely lost its meaning after being overused and bastardized, but like, my reaction to this whole thing with Jade forcing this on Dave and Karkat, being like, just do it! You know, fucking Shia LaBeouf screaming at them. I believe my reaction to this can be summarized as cringe. Yeah. I think cringing is a good descriptor for my horrific physical response to this entire scene. Jade, come on, what are you... She's doing it. She's making it happen. Yes, yes, reference secured. This is a date, dummies. No, stop! Dude. Karkat makes a fist so tight that his nubby fingernails pinch his skin. Dave does the opposite. He makes a flat palm and raises it as if to stop traffic. No, let me show you. You have to turn it flipwise. God. Jade, just don't... She turns Dave's hands so that it's cupping Karkat's angry little fist in its palm. When she pries Karkat's fingers open, finally, they snap closed around Dave's almost automatically. Karkat's eyes go a little light bulb-like. Dave's gone pale and a bit sweaty. Jade claps and then makes a rectangle with her thumb and forefingers, framing her hand-holding besties at the center of it. She's taking a picture with her brain right now. Dave and Karkat being all shy and intimate with the romantic backdrop of a brilliant twilight behind them. A pretty portrait. Put her in the middle of it, and it's a work of art. Just what she wants the rest of her life to be. After all, pitiful beta boys? Like, don't use incel terminology in the fucking narrative lines. Like, that just... I have mentioned this a bajillion times before, but that just makes me uncomfortable. Like, it just doesn't feel appropriate. Like, this whole thing, like, it's primarily used by incels and, like, the incel community and, like, people who prescribe to those sorts of misogynistic ideologies, and just casually tossing it in here, I'm not really a fan. See, I don't mind at all. I would never try to break up what you two have. I'm just trying to make it better. Ironic use of incel terminology is increasingly your least favorite part of her writing. Yeah, I mean, like, in terms of the epilogues specifically, it has been said that basically all of the narrative text, or like the vast majority of it, was written by Cepheid Variable. But yeah, I mean, I feel like that the incel terminology, like, that does feel like some after editing plonked in there, because that's definitely a hallmark of V's writing. And yeah, it's not just increasingly my least favorite part of her writing, it's absolutely my least favorite part of her writing. Like, we shouldn't be giving that terminology any more credence, you know. It should just be put completely out of use. Like, I understand the, like, trying to take the power away from it or whatever, but I don't think we're really culturally at a place where that's appropriate right now. I think it just needs to go. With a satisfied smile, Jade dips under their arms and hooks her hands around either waist, pulling Dave and Karkat flush up against her. Their fingers remain entwined behind her back. She begins walking them down the ridge of the hill, beaming brighter than the first stars in the sky. See, isn't this perfect? It could be like this all the time, you know. The three of us in every combination. Or whatever combinations you two are comfortable with. Positions, too. Oh, you were already going way too far, and this is, like, crossing the line from way too far into, like, fucking, like, outer space. You know what I mean? That didn't entirely make sense, but I think I got my point across. But, that is too much even for being too much. Dave has gone catatonic. Karkat's just as quiet, but it's a quiet that's as loud and alarmed as his actual voice. He's got his head turned away from the situation he's been forced into, as far as it will go. He's concentrating so hard on looking elsewhere that he trips over a rock and is only saved by Jade picking the three of them off the ground as she takes flight. Karkat's legs flail when his feet go out from under him. Ah, don't do that! You know I fucking hate that. Femcel, reverse incel? I don't know if that's a... I don't even like a joking association between Jade and anything to do with incels. Jade sets them back on the ground, cackling like the witch she is. Karkat still won't look at her. She stops laughing abruptly, sensing her plan isn't going as well as she'd hoped. Honey, please. It took all of that for you to sense that maybe things weren't going the way that you wanted them to? Sweetheart. She views the two boys as a broken electrical circuit and herself as the conductor between the two charged points. She just needs to maneuver it into the correct configuration, like she did with their hands. She does a few quick calculations in her head, refusing to give up on her assumption that relationship issues can be solved the same way math problems can. See, well, there's your issue. Relationship issues cannot be solved the same way math problems can, and trying to think of them as a broken electrical circuit is kind of gross. And, pretty objectifying and dehumanizing. Don't worry, Karkat. There's nothing to be scared of. We'll take care of you. Right, Dave? Dave doesn't answer. She answers for him by leaning down and planting a dry, affectionate kiss on Karkat's cheek. He yelps and leaps away like he's been scalded by a burning iron, liberating himself from the deeply uncomfortable hug triad. Okay, that is it. I am drawing a fucking line in the sand right here and now, Jade. You will cease this endless violation of my person with your mouth, fingers, and occasionally your fucking tail. I am not a piece of meat that you can brutally and viciously molest whenever you're bored. Brutally and viciously? Oh, Jade, how is that? Those are the words that you have an issue with, and not the fact that he said that you were molesting him? Oh my god. Yes, Karkat, assert your fucking boundaries. Please. God. Alright, it's possible that I'm overreacting. You're not, Karkat. You are fucking valid. But that's my fucking right as a free and autonomous person with a certain degree of fundamental bodily sovereignty endowed to him by the gods of motherfucking consent. Snaps for Carcat. Mm-hmm. But I hope you understand what I'm getting at here, which is that I want you to stop doing shit like kissing me without asking permission first. More snaps for Carcat. Carcat, you're absolutely right. And I couldn't agree more with you on issues of consent, as everyone who's gotten to know me well enough is perfectly aware. But, Jade, you don't follow a statement like that with a but. You just cut it off there. Carcat, yes, you're right. I couldn't agree with you more on issues of consent. We're on the same page. Done. Why are you continuing to do this, Jade? I'm not the one who kissed you, silly. See, now she's lying, and it's just, there's so much happening here, Jade. Jade covers her mouth coquettishly and winks something. It was Dave. Dave turns around, shoulders going rigid and eyes popping open like he's just awoken from one of the terrible sweaty nightmares he was projecting onto his hand earlier. Anyone in this thread smoke weed? God. Yeah, let's just... Anyway, aside from the train wreck happening on screen right now... God. I what? You kissed Carcat! Finally! Jade, just stop digging this hole. No, I didn't. Why would I? Dave hesitates. Jade is giddy with anticipation. She couldn't possibly look more pleased by her own handiwork. Jade, stop that. That cough was a mood. Yeah, this chapter's almost over, and then we'll take 5, and hopefully the one after this is less painful. I have no idea what you're talking about. I would never... You're whack, Jade. I'm not. Whack? Why would I kiss Carcat? I've never even once thought about kissing Carcat. How would you even fucking do it? He's so petite. I'm what? You're like, okay, so fuck Jade for all of this awkward setup, but this just isolated piece of dialogue is fucking hilarious. Completely isolated from circumstance, this is funny. Knowing that Jade did all that shit, it is not so funny. But if you isolate this set of dialogue... Anyone... Yeah, louder for the people in the back. Anyone in this thread smoke weed? God. You're like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna admit this was a weird thing to say and has got dick all to do with your kissability. God damn it, can we stop talking about this yet? What I mean is, like, how could somebody kiss this guy? Like, anybody. When his teeth are so... When my teeth are fucking what? Dude, they're just... Like, they're huge and not always in your mouth. So, like, how would a guy get his tongue in there? Tongue? This is a train wreck. This is a train wreck. I take back everything I said about it being funny in isolation, and I'm just in pain. Carcat begins hyperventilating and momentarily forgets his beef with Jade long enough to lean on her to prevent himself from toppling over. You'd have to be really careful to, like... I mean, if you were intending to kiss Carcat, I mean, it's not like I put any thought into this, but you'd have to be so careful, like, just so totally gentle in your approach to it, because he's so... Enough! Cease! I command you! You know, like this. I don't know, I'm just spitballing, and this is literally the first time that thought has, like, ever popped into my head, but upon earnest reflection, I don't know if I'm up to the task. Dave's mouth hangs open a bit. His gaze flits from Carcat to Jade and back again. His palms are wet, but his mouth is dry. We're not... Dave's mumbling protest, slow to a stop. Actually, you know what? I don't have time for this. Peace, dudes. And then he just fucking leaves. Yeah, anyone please? Dave ollies the fuck out of there, flash stepping between 1 second and the next, disappearing 30 seconds into the future with the gusto of a piece of garbage flying into the fucking sun. Jade stares after him, blinking at the glare of the after image he left behind. It's a glimmering slice of ultraviolet that only she can see. It lingers in the unstable particles between the air. She huffs and puts her hands on her hips. Wow, rude! I forget sometimes how immature Dave can be. Oh, don't. Just, you have shoved your foot so far into your fucking mouth it's coming out your ass, Jade. Please, don't. Well, Carcat, I guess it's just us. Do you still want to go split a plateau of grub spaghetti at the noodle barn? The old spaghetti factory. Is that just a Canadian restaurant? Am I the only one who's catching this reference? Is that just a Canadian restaurant chain? Can we get some weed smokers in here? Carcat, when she turns to address him, is staring at her slack-jawed. He takes a step back, but isn't watching where he puts his foot. His heel goes into a dip in the hill, and he goes stumbling backwards, feet overhead. Ah, fuck! Jade! Would you... Fuck! Ouch! A little help? Maybe? Ah! Jade could probably catch him. Actually, she could easily do it. But it doesn't seem like the kind of favor you should do to a fledgling kismicissitude. In a fledgling kismicissitude. So instead, she watches him roll all the way to the foot of the hill, knees and elbows bouncing around all ragdolled and furious as he swears up a storm. He hits the ground back first and just lays there for a few minutes, completely owned. He watches the darkening sky with a hollow look on his face for at least an entire minute. Then, he slowly pulls himself to his feet and brushes the brambles off of his pants. He points up the hill at Jade and shouts, "For the record, just so we're both clear, this is why I hate leaving the fucking house." He absconds, limping a little and rubbing the left side of his ass, which unfortunately for him affords nowhere near the level of padding as Jake's legendary backside. Jade puffs out both of her cheeks and stares after him. Well, I guess I'm eating grub spaghetti alone. Again. Why does Earthsea still make food out of troll babies? Like, maybe it's a mock grub spaghetti? But yeah, if it is technically still made of troll grubs, that's like not a good look. Okay, so now that disaster is done, it's time for break. So we'll come back to chapter 10 after 5 minutes of Squiddle Sing-Along. Yeah. Yeah, we'll keep doing this. Okay, back in 5. Hello and welcome back. Hopefully that was just enough time for my internet to get its fucking shit together again, because I did notice when I was trying to do some other things on my computer during break that my fucking internet cut out again. Completely. Like, for a solid few seconds, zero internet. Would not load a single fucking thing. Great. So, hopefully we're back and we're fine now and it's all good. I'm gonna start chapter 10. Which is another John and Terezi chapter, which simultaneously warms my heart and hurts me. Okay. 10. Where even are you? And why haven't you sliced Makara in half yet? He smells too bad. And I don't think I want to risk getting that close to him until he takes a bath. Even then, I'd rather not. As for where I am, I'm not sure you would believe me if I told you. I bet I would. Okay, I'm on a date. Lol. Don't lol at me. I can't help it, it's hilarious. Who are you out on a date with? Why don't you take a guess? Okay, it's obviously Roxy. Oh, what's wrong? You asked me to guess, so I guessed. I'm just wondering if it was really that obvious. Yeah, John. We are not idiots. We can all do the math on this. It's not like you were going to fuck your human mom or a human sister. And you are not a homosexual, which takes... See, here's... like, the human... You know, that's with Tersey. But, like... I don't know. I thought that doesn't feel like in character for Tersey. Like, I don't... Thinking back on Tersey dialogue, I feel like she's not the kind of person who really does the whole constant... constant allusions to genitals thing. Like, maybe Carcat would say something like that, but not Tersey. And even then, I don't know. And you are not a homosexual, which takes Strider out of the equation. And Kanaya is the only girl troll left, and she lesbian married one of the two remaining eligible human females. Oh, and Jake is a double threat. A human dad with a... See, like, I don't think that, like... I don't know. I don't like the random, unnecessary, ciscentric, like, commentary. Just feels unnecessary. So by process of elimination, of course you were going to fall in love with Roxy. Wait. Love? Is that how John feels about Roxy? He glances around at this beautiful restaurant she's taken him to. Marble walls, a domed ceiling, alien plants growing up the scaffolding to the second floor. It's lit by a cobweb of ultra-thin clear wire strung with lights so that it looks like there are fireflies suspended above in a fake night sky. It's a good place to fall in love, probably. That does sound very pretty. He turns his head to see that Gamzee has stepped outside and now monitors the day with his face pressed against the window. He's smearing his disgusting makeup against the glass without the slightest concern for propriety. John accidentally makes eye contact with him, and Gamzee gives him a thumbs up. A chill runs down John's spine, so he goes back to his conversation with Tersey. I'm waiting. Still waiting. Egbert, are you there, or can I go now? Yeah, I just had to think about that for a second. Do you really think I'm in love with her? How the hell would I know that? I'm not a mind reader. Oh, aren't you? I thought that's what your mind thingy powers did. No, John. No, I'm just an exceptionally good reader of people. Not that I would have to be to tell that you've been flushed for Roxy since you met her. Yeah, I guess that's true. How do you think she feels about me? If you're out on a date with her, I don't think I'm the one you should be asking that question. That's a good point. I mean, would that be an okay thing to ask her? That seems kinda, I don't know, dopey? That's the definition of your character, John. We love you. You're a little dork and we love you. John, I hate to tell you this, but there's not much you could do at this point to increase your dopiness attribute. You've already pretty much maxed out the dork stat, and I can only imagine that the positive correlation between your continued existence and the amount of sheer dweebiness you emit has retained expected equilibrium in the time that I've been gone. Jeez, you always know what to say to people in their hour of need, Tersey. I'm so glad I decided to talk to you. You should be glad. I'm doing you a big favor, as usual. The sea are magnanimously descending from her mountain and disdaining to give the hapless human peerless advice. Imagine me rolling my eyes super hard right now, because that's what I'm doing. Noted. But trust me, the worst thing you can do when attempting to initiate a flushed relationship is to be evasive. Roxy is actually incredibly difficult to read, but I think she's the last person who would ever try to jerk you around. She'll appreciate you being upfront. The only thing I wonder is what happened with Calliope. They seem so happy. Yeah, that's still kind of a mystery. Yeah, that's been bothering me too. Callie was actually the one who convinced me to stay. Roxy was all over me the moment I said I wasn't going. Going where? Going where? Oh, to fight Lord English. You were supposed to fight Lord English? Yeah, I guess. But you just decided not to? Look, it's a long story. Actually, it's not, but that's not why I texted you. I'll tell you some other time. Right now, what I need to figure out is how I feel about the whole Calliope thing. I'm not afraid to ask Roxy how she feels about me, I guess, but I think I am afraid to ask about... Roxy finally comes back from the restroom. He hears her heels click-clacking on the floor and shoves his phone into his pocket in a panic before he can follow up on the last line of his message. He doesn't know why he does it in a panic. It's not like he's doing anything wrong. In fact, tapping away on the phone when someone leaves you alone at a table is completely and totally normal. Maybe it's just that it's kind of weird to be talking to a girl under the table while on a date with a completely different girl, no matter what his respective relationships with those two girls might be. His internal Rose voice tisks him for having such a gender-essentialist thought. He wonders if he'd feel quite as guilty if he were talking to Rose under the table instead of Teresi. Probably not, which is a whole tangle of stuff he doesn't even want to think about. He shoots Roxy a big, bright grin when she slips into her seat. She grins back. Yes, John is skittish about it because deep down he knows that there's romantic feelings there for Teresi, and he's not ready to admit it. He is genuinely glad to be here. Roxy is beautiful. The restaurant is beautiful. He feels like he's fumbling at something existentially beautiful here. There's something about the way she looks at him that makes him glad he got out of bed today. It makes him, for the first time in years, excited about the idea that the future is a thing that exists. Sorry for taking so long. Had to reapply the face. You know how it is. Actually, you probably don't, but let me tell you, makeup's a bitch. Roxy, you don't have to do all that for me. I'm basically a schlub these days. I don't care if you wear makeup or not. You're pretty either way. You know that, right? Oh, don't worry. It's not for you. Lol. But that's sweet as hell. I appreciate the sentiment. Oh, that's cool. Why do you need it then? John, do you ever think about, like, gender? Not really, I guess. But I don't think girls should feel like they have to wear makeup just because they're girls. Well, that's not what I'm getting at. What do you mean, then? Are you, like what? I don't know. I don't really know what we're talking about. Well, I don't really know either, I guess. Anyway, we don't gotta get super into it now. This isn't really the setting. I don't know if you noticed, but this place is way too fancy for me. LMFAO. I was all trying to impress you with how I'm classy as fuck, but now I feel like we're gonna have to skip out on the check. Even though we've got infinite money? Anyway, yeah, so this is like, they almost get into that gender conversation. But, you know, Roxy almost gets to that revelation here. But of course, we find out later, right, the difference between me and Candy in terms of Roxy coming to this revelation is Calliope. If Roxy started this conversation with Calliope, I'm sure it would end in a very different way. It wouldn't get shut down at all. But because it's with John, who doesn't really know what they're talking about, you know, it doesn't really get anywhere and get to that place where Roxy can say, hey, maybe my gender is not girl. Even though we've got infinite money? Yeah, just a feeling I got. Like this fancy dress is a costume. Like I'm just play acting at being a grown-up woman. Yeah, I know that feeling. What even are adults? Good question. When I was a kid, I just thought adulthood was something that happened to you automatically, I think. Like, the moment I turned 18, a briefcase would appear in my hand and I'd have it all figured out, just like my dad seemed to. I can't believe I'm 23 and still a huge loser. I wonder if my dad ever thought that way about himself, like he was just some big dumb kid totally messing everything up, but trying to keep up appearances anyway. Ain't that the mood? Like, all of that, you know? I remember, like, kids' conceptions of adulthood is fucking fascinating. Like, okay, when I was, or their conceptions of people who are a lot older than them in general. Like, I was 17, I think, when this happened. 17 and working for a children's art studio, and I was working primarily with kids in, like, the 4 to 10, like, age range. And this, like, how old is this kid? I think 6 or 7? I think it was 7. This, like, 7-year-old, asked me if I had kids, and I was like, no, I don't. And I was just kind of like, no, I'm not ready for that. I'm 17. And this fucking kid thought I was, like, in my 30s or something, and I was like, I'm sorry, pardon? At 17, this kid was like, yeah, this is an adult. All adults must be 30-something. And I was like, whoa, slow down there, friend. But, yeah, you actually get there. Like, I don't know, I'm 22, and I'm just like, I think when I was little, I probably thought I would be, like, moved out of my parents, working full-time or whatever by this point. It'd be, like, graduating teachers college because I wanted to be a teacher. You know, it's just, yeah, it's just that whole, you know, being 23 and still a huge loser is a very big mood. And most people are in the same goddamn boat on that one. Don't say that about yourself, dummy. So, I'm a dummy, but I shouldn't call myself dumb? OMG, you know what I meant. Roxy runs one of her thin fingers around the inside rim of her water glass. It makes a very quiet squeaking noise that he can hear over the mumbled conversation around him because they're sitting so very close. Her lashes look about twice as long in the low, pale light. They shadow her eyes, so he can't read her expression. Again, with the lashes, I should have been keeping track of how many lashes references there are in this. Is this stream even, like, up and running? Like, I'm just gonna double check this shit for myself, because I don't know if it is. Okay, I think it is. Wow, this quality is not great. But, yeah. I'm not sure if this is working properly, but I'm gonna keep reading. Okay. You know, I didn't even know any adults when I was a kid. So I got nothing except the legends of how my universe's Rose and Dave died, I guess. But that's not exactly a useful example in this situation. I don't know. I think sacrificing yourself to take down a brutal clown dictatorship is a pretty good life lesson to internalize in any situation. Lol, yeah, God forbid. Which, this whole thing, fucking... Look, Jane's whole thing later on, not necessarily a clown dictatorship, but there's definitely a clown involved there, and it's really fucked up. And dictatorship-y... But, I mean, my idea of date for the longest time was drinking a whole bottle of wine alone while crying in front of my laptop screen. Oh, same, actually. Minus the wine and the computer screen. Oh, jeez. Just you and your brain contemplating the infinite loneliness of singular consciousness in a vast cold universe. Something like that. So, I guess neither of us are very good at this, huh? That's cool with me. Zero expectations means we got nowhere to go but up. I'll toast to that. These fucking nerds. John lifts his glass as a cute and cliche thing to do, expecting no reciprocation, but she laughs and actually humors him. The glasses clink together clumsily, and water gets all over the complimentary breadsticks. She starts laughing harder. Oh, John, why didn't we do this sooner? I love spending time with you. You know, it's weird to say, but no one else has ever made me feel like this. For some reason, those words make the pit in his stomach grow. He lets out a nervous giggle. His arms start to shake violently, so violently that he gets even more water in the free breadsticks. Whoo boy, he's sweating under the collar. It's a panic, like what he felt when Roxy almost caught him texting Terezi under the table, except in reverse. What about Calliope, he thinks. John can't tell what Roxy is thinking. She's so warm and open and inviting, but when John looks into her eyes, it's almost like staring into a void. Oh, the fuck, look behind you. Panic. He whips his head around to see Dave? He's running down the street, looking back and forth like a hunted man. He spots John and freezes for a moment, obviously trying to compose himself. No one goes still, quite like a strider. He brushes past Gamzee, who was still glued to the window to spy on the date, and swaggers into the restaurant. The look on his face seems to suggest he's about to throw up, but he keeps it together. His entrance is so smooth that all the dining Carpathians in the vicinity immediately stop talking and stare at him as he glides to the table. Oh, Dave. Dave sets his hand just in front of the free breadsticks and angles a look at John through the panel of his shades. It looks like he hasn't slept, but it's hard to tell with Dave. He's out of breath. Hey, dude. And Roxy. Hey, dudes. Sorry to imply that dude wasn't a gender-neutral term, because it totally is. Anyone can be dude if they really want. That's part of the beauty of living in this brand new world with none of the baggage of our old world had, like gender and sexuality and relationships only involving a very specific number of people. Dave, you okay? Yeah, totally. When am I not okay? Pretty often, actually. I fucking love this. Yeah, Roxy's immediately like, what the fuck, Dave? And he's like, yeah, it's chill, it's cool, it's chill, it's good, it's chill, I'm good, it's chill. It's very transparent. Okie dokie. Good night, Sneak Cat. Hope you have a good sleep and a great day tomorrow. No, I'm fine. There's absolutely nothing strange or awkward going on in my life at all. Unrelated to anything I just said. John, I gotta talk to you for a sec. Okay, go ahead. No, I mean like outside, in private, with no one else around. You sure you're okay? Yeah, Mom, I'm fine. Sorry, that was me being sarcastic about how you're all worried over me when I'm just ice fucking cold levels of cool at the moment. Not referencing that you're my literal mom, which I know is all kinds of awkward every single time I do it. Which is a lot, I guess. Oh man, I don't think it's awkward at all. Oh, cool. Me neither, Mom. Roxy's right. You seem kind of off right now. Nah, I just had a sudden need for a bro down. Just an unquenchable thirst to be showered in a flash storm of righteous bro juice. Yikes. Oh, Dave. Gotta guzzle the shit out of it like Gatorade after a sports match. Help me out here, my broelectrolytes are low. Yeah, John's just like, I'm not even fucking responding to this anymore. John, just come on, it's important. Yeah, sure. Roxy, are you fine with waiting here by yourself for a while? Yeah, I'll just be here eating breadsticks since we didn't actually order dinner. Cool, I'll be right back. Dave shoves his hands in his pockets and leads John out into the cool evening air. Gamzee offers a double thumbs up as they walk past him, which John fiercely ignores. John does, however, check his phone. subtly, but a little desperately. He left Terzi hanging in the middle of a sentence, and he's got to admit, as much fun as he's having with Roxy, there's an annoying little voice screaming at him underneath everything he's done and said tonight that desperately needs to know what else Terzi had to say. Behind Dave's back as he leads the way, John swipes the screen to catch up with her answers, smiling conspiratorially. Whew. Okay. Like many of the chapters in Candy, this is another long one. So, I'm seeing it's 12:35. I'm going to guess this is the last one for tonight. 11. Dave grabs the sleeve of John's tux in his sweaty palm, and the two of them fly to the top of the nearest tower. John glances at him en route, and the look on Dave's face strikes him as that of a man condemned to death. The stars stand out along the skyline, so bright in this new world that the outline of every constellation is crisp and clear, even in the middle of the city. Dave cups his hands over his knees and stares straight ahead. Yo, John, what do you think about me and Carcat? You two are pretty cute. You two are pretty cute together, I guess. Together. I need you to be way more specific here. Oh, okay. I guess I'd have to say that you're both cute individually when you're with each other, and you make cute friends, which is why you're cute together. Something about it just works. I feel like I'm saying cute a lot here. For the record, I don't mean you're cute as an individual. No offense. Alone, you're just Dave, but together, yeah, you guys are cute. Together? You mean like a couple? Dave says this so neutrally that John has no idea how to read it, despite having years of practice reading Dave's many neutral tones. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Why? Didn't I just explain it? Good friends make good partners. You're similar in all the right ways, and different in all the even more right ways. You two balance each other out and keep each other from going off the rails, like when you were kids. Huh. You were both kinda crazy when we were kids? Again, no offense. That's not what I was saying about. Oh, I was saying because that sure was a coherent Egbertian thesis on the state of the Dave Cat situation. Well, I've thought about it that way for a long time. I think it's what everyone else thinks too. I don't know. If I'd been thinking about it that way, I wouldn't be in the mess I'm in right now. Whew. Excuse me. Yeah, this is definitely the last chapter. You're in a mess? Yeah. There's a metric fuck ton of shit about to come down on me because I dragged my heels on doing some serious self-reflection. Is this just more stuff about being gay? Maybe, yeah. Okay, definitely, yeah. It's 110% about being gay. I thought you'd already worked all that stuff out. Turns out it takes a long time to figure out your sexuality after a childhood filled with repression and abuse. Oof. Dave. I mean, yeah, I woke the hell up to my inner potential for gayness in a big way, but then I just kind of pressed the snooze button and rolled back over because we kind of had to fight all those jacks and also create society. Holy fucking shit. There's a gay snooze button? Yeah, man, there's a gay snooze button. Wow. Yes, the gay snooze button. I remember hating the gay snooze button in 7th grade. That was the first time I ever had the thought, what if I'm a lesbian? Am I a lesbian? And I hit that gay snooze button so motherfucking hard because, quite frankly, in 7th grade, the thought of me actually being gay terrified me. It completely terrified me. When I was having my gay cool boy awakening, it wasn't a full no homo, but it was at least a quarter no homo. If I hadn't done that instead of talking to you about this, I'd be at home right now, kissing Carcat, probably. I don't get this, Dave. Am I your gay confessor or something? You don't need my blessing to go kiss Carcat. In fact, I was pretty sure you were already kissing Karkat. Nope. In that case, as the Lord Pope of Dave's fully awakened... Sorry, I just can't get through that fucking line without laughing. Okay. Wow, the viewer number is at 0. That's been quite some time since I have hit literally 0. Well, hopefully someone else joins at least in time to watch the end of this. Although my garbage internet connection, who knows? We might not even be live right now. At least this is going on YouTube. At least it's not just going to disappear into the fucking ether. In that case, as the Lord and Pope of Dave's fully awakened gaydom, I give you my blessing to immediately leave and rectify that as soon as possible. Go now, my child, and kiss Karkat right on the lips. I love this. I like this John a lot better than, like, the weird, like, pseudo-homophobic John that people rate him as in a lot of fics. Where he's like, he's not disapproving homophobic, but he's, like, uncomfortable with it and is weird about it. Yeah, I like this John a lot better. I would really like more people to write this John. Okay, as much as I appreciate how weird a thing that was to say, it's not that simple. I might not exactly be the expert, but kissing seems pretty easy, Dave. I'm sure it gets more complicated in the later stages, obviously. Oh my god, John. Fucking hell. I might not exactly be the expert, but kissing seems pretty easy, Dave. I'm sure it gets more complicated in the later stages, obviously, but I think you can figure out how to get your lips to his without much trouble. The later stages? What the fuck does that even mean? God damn it, John. No, I mean, like, Dave makes a couple truly useless hand gestures. In the greater fabric of our weird incestuous social group, it might be the wrong move, I think. How so? Because... Jade? John bites his lip. Oh boy. That's a complicated problem, all right. He loves his sister, but she's developed a bad habit of sometimes approaching delicate social situations with all the grace of an elephant stumbling around in a dark room. Do elephants have good night vision? I don't know why I feel like that is a moot point because elephants have good night vision. Look at this. There's an article on elephant vision. Let's ride this detour out, I guess. Same as human eyes, 2 types of photoreceptors, blah, blah, blah. Let me just control F night. Have the ability to see as well in dim light as they can in the light of day. So... Okay, but on the rare nights when the clouds move in blocking any light from the moon, then elephant is virtually blind. Fine. Just thought I might as well write that tangent out. Let's see. I'll put my source link in the description, even though it was literally like the first Google result. Okay. So it looks like that was indeed a warranted comment. I digress. Back to the story. Right. I almost managed to forget that she was trying to fuck you and Karkat. Jesus Christ, John. You just finished, you know, having a little thought about how Jade was not handling delicate situations with grace, and then you're just like, oh yeah, she's trying to fuck you both, and Dave is like, what? Dave snaps his head around to stare at John in shock. Wait, you knew about that? Yeah? Did you not? Of course I knew about it. I was looking at the whole thing through several complicated layers of conscious denial, but I knew. It's just that you, like, never leave your house. Well, it probably helps that Jade literally said the words to me, and I may be paraphrasing here, but, "Hey John, I'm gonna fuck Dave and Carcat." Jeez. What the fuck, she said that to you? What did you say? I don't know, it was a while ago. Probably that it was a bad idea. But I thought it was kinda obvious. She's always had a crush on you, Dave. Yeah, I know. He sighs and hangs his head, leaning forward with his elbows crossed over his thighs. The angle he's at gives John a good look at his eyes, which are boring a deep, miserable hole in the center of the earth right now. That's why I think I should give it a try, I guess. Give what a try? Dating Jade? Yeah, and Carcat. Oh man, Dave. I don't know. That sounds like it could really blow up in your face. Yeah, that's why I'm kind of freaking out right now, if you didn't notice. Sorry, dude, it's just... Do you even like Jade? Of course I do, she's one of my best friends. No, I meant... Do you like her? Oh my god, John, you're 23 years old. Can you at least pretend to talk like a grown man? Okay, Dave, God. Are you in love with Jade? Dave doesn't answer. His silence says a lot, John thinks. Are you in love with Carcat? That's a big fucking question. That's the biggest fucking question that ever got asked. It's like the Paleolithic megafauna of questions. Like, it's so familiar, but your eyes just glaze over it in denial because it's too fucking big. Why did megalodon sharks need to have such big jaws, John? To eat smaller sharks? I've never been so fucking terrified of a question in my entire life. Seriously, my heart is pounding so hard right now that I feel like I'm gonna hurl. Well, doesn't that answer the question? Nah, because it's not like I feel nothing for Jade. In fact, I feel a whole lot of things for her. Too many to just tell her off after all this time. I mean, she spent all those years alone on the ship, and I know she missed me. And then Dave Sprite died, or turned into fucking Dave Petta. I was never exactly clear on what happened there. And God knows he didn't make any attempt to clear the fucking air with her. But when I think about it, neither did I. So maybe I'm just a huge asshole who's been leading her on for like a whole goddamn decade at this point. And if I have been, don't I owe it to her to at least try? If that's your logic, Dave, then haven't you been leading Carcat on too? Doesn't he deserve the same chance? I mean, if you think it's the kind of decision you can lay on another person like this, why don't you just flip a coin? John. Very transparent. Oh my god. And of course, Dave immediately recognizes it. He tilts his face so that he can give John a look. The corner of his lip quirks ambiguously. Have you been talking to Terzi? Damn, I thought she ghosted everyone. Not me, I guess. Huh. Anyway, I know you thought that sounded like a totally cool thing to say, but I don't really think you've grasped the full metaphysical implications of whatever you're quoting there. Yeah, because of course he's just thinking back to the time Terzi flipped a coin on his fucking life, whether or not to teach him how to god tier. That was what it was, right? And the one version of him that was impatient ended up just getting straight up murdered by Jack, and not going god tier. Dave sits up and leans back on his palms, his voice sounding lighter in a subtle, almost ephemeral way, now that the subject's changed to something as easy as metaphysics. He catches John's gaze and makes a rolling gesture with his hand, mimicking the way a practiced magician would flip a coin over their thumb. Do you know what a coin flip is? Like, universally, I mean, in the grand scale of all this time-space infinite string theory bullshit we're always dealing with. Of course. It's like when you know that you've already made a decision you're reluctant about, and need an outside force to show you how you really feel. No, dude, that's dumb. You should know this, because you've done the retcon thing. What does this have to do with flipping coins? Okay, so every time you flip a coin, you're creating an alternate timeline, right? One where it lands heads and one where it lands tails. But while the coin is flipping, both possibilities exist simultaneously. But what if you know for sure that you'd make the same decision no matter which side landed up? You can't. So it's like the coin never lands then? Sure. Then if you dated both Jade and Karkat, it'd be like you're winning the Schrodinger's cat paradox. Yeah, that's another theoretical paradox that I think you gotta read up on a bit more there, buddy. Like, you can't win the Schrodinger's cat paradox. Oh, God. It is an is or an isn't. There is no win and lose unless you bet money on whether or not there would be something in the box. Or maybe I'm just talking out of my ass and I sound like John right now. I don't know. I probably won't, but okay. That's a mood. Fair enough. But yes, metaphysics aside, me dating both Jade and Karkat at the same time literally is the issue at hand, and it is that with which I currently and explicitly struggle. Yeah, sure seems that way. So, I don't know, Dave. This all just, it doesn't sound right to me. He's getting more of that trickle hint of like, what's going on here? John thinks about the speech Rose gave him that morning on her couch about canon veracity and the validity or non-validity of subjective actions the further they get away from the intended sequence of events. Something about pillars? What is essential, true, and relevant. He remembers those 3 words, but not other contextual remarks which bind them. That conversation seems so very long ago now. I mean, it doesn't sound canon? Ugh, not you too. Rose is always going on about canon. I don't give a fuck about canon. Then what do you give a fuck about? Dave sighs and runs a hand through his hair. Doing the right thing, I guess. This doesn't seem hard to me at all, Dave. Go home right now and tell Karkat how you feel. Look, I can't. If I did that, it would be like what, Dave? Like you would be really happy and Karkat would also be really happy? Ugh, I'm not explaining myself right now. I need to... Dave staggers uneasily to his feet, staring way past John like he's looking into the infinity of his own soul right now. John's never seen him so scared, and it's over what seems like a pretty easy choice as far as John's concerned. It sure isn't easy for him, though. John guesses this is what it means to be a friend. It means being the guy who understands when easy isn't actually that easy. I have to talk to Dirk, I think. Okay? John wonders when talking to Dirk has fixed anything for anyone. But, yeah. I can't. It would be like, yeah, because it's like, it's hard, and it's a big change, and it's a scary change, right? Even if it's the right thing to do, even if something like that is what is the right thing to do, still doesn't make it any less fucking terrifying. He's about to ask exactly what it is he needs to talk to Dirk about, but then remembers what he saw when he went back to fetch Gamzee's fridge from the medium. Dirk and Dave, hugging on the edge of the roof, sharing something private and mysterious, the sort of thing that can only happen between 2 people whose personalities are cracked in the same way. It's not something John's ever had, so it's not something he can understand. An uncomfortable silence lingers between the 2 of them. Before John can fill it with some stupid words, he hears Roxy calling up to him from below. He pops his head over the roof and waves at her. What's up? Yo, boys, not to interrupt, we got kicked out of the restaurant for not ordering. What? Really? What's even the point of being famous if that can happen? LMAO, I know, right? Told you I wasn't classy enough for the joint. I got all these breadsticks, though, so we can reconvene in the park. Totes romantic. 10 minutes, what you say? Sounds good. I'll see you there soon. She just stole all the fucking breadsticks and ran. She grins up at John with shimmering, adoring eyes. They're reflecting every star in the sky, all for him. It makes his heart do a weird somersault. It tries to flip frontways, then backwards, and ends up landing on its face instead. He's feeling too many contradictory things right now. When he turns to look at Dave again, he's practically translucent, barely there, half out of the door emotionally. John feels like he could have done more, like this whole conversation was sand running through his fingers. It itches at the back of his head, the idea that he might have just fucked up Dave's entire life. I'm sorry I couldn't help. Nah, dude, it's not your fault. Dave gives him a light bro punch in the arm and tries to smile. Enjoy your date. Woo! Yeah. So, yeah, Dave's having like a lot of conflicting feelings about this, and then he goes on to he doesn't address them. And it's, yeah, like this feeling like he just fucked up Dave's entire life. That's, oof. Okay. Wow, this is not gonna be a fun one to read. Oh boy. So it is 12:55 and this is another longer one, so this is the end of stream today. Viewer count still at 0. I wonder, like, am I even live right now? Am I even live or am I only doing this for YouTube? Like, at this point, I am not 100% sure. But hey, it's something, it's gonna go online, it's not gonna fall into the ether. Well, if my numbers are wrong, and there's anyone out there listening right now, and also to anyone who is watching this on YouTube, have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you may be getting up to. I'm gonna go read the next chapter of the Lalonde itinerary, which I linked in both in chat and in the description below in the YouTube video. I would highly recommend you all check it out. Some splendid writing from the one and only Odd and Bubbly, regular friend of the stream. Yeah. Fingers crossed that next stream will go a little more smoothly and my internet will not crap out and we'll have some more palling around. That would be tomorrow night. Tomorrow is June 29th. It took me a second. What is time? June 29th, 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, coming back to Chapter 12. I know Chapter 14 is coming up, and that's a bit of a rough one. I think I'm gonna reread it on my own and do some kind of Cliff Notes things to talk about, but I'm not gonna actually read the whole chapter out loud because it does get... I mean, it's a graphic depiction of suicide. It's very rough. So that's, yeah. That's how that will be handled, so rest assured it will not be handled with it will be handled with kid gloves. We're not just gonna bulldoze through that one. Like a bull in a china shop. We won't spend a whole lot of time lingering on it. I'll just kind of Cliff Notes, other things that can kind of be taken from that chapter and talked about maybe in reference to meat, things like that. So, indeed, okay. Our time is up. We will start tomorrow with Chapter 12. Thanks so much for hanging out to those folks who did come hang out. And I hope you enjoyed what parts of the stream you were able to see. I'd like to issue a very special fuck you to my internet connection. Hopefully it will be doing a little better tomorrow night. You know, I've gotten better at ending these things over the years. Years? It has not been multiple years yet. It will be 2 years in October, which is very exciting and daunting to think about. However, year and a half-ish, let's say. Gotten better at ending these things. But I still sometimes have evenings where, like, the words just keep coming and I just need to learn when to hit the fucking stop button. So, I am going to do that. Thanks for joining me. Hopefully I'll be seeing all of you and then some for tomorrow's stream. Have a wonderful rest of your day, whatever you may be getting up to, and good night.